Earth is the hardest place to be consistent. No one else here even bothers. So from story to story, there's no such thing as a consistent ally. Take my guiding philosophy, for example. I want to minimize the suffering of all creatures capable of suffering. Right away, the easiest way to do this is to fight against the prison industrial complex. In countries like, let's say America, you could reduce the prison population by 90% overnight and still be too punitive. When deciding whom to free first, it's obvious. All the nonviolent offenders. To a normie lefty, this means only the nonviolent drug offenders. But to the free-thinking community, we see no reason not to include the nonviolent sex offenders. Now, I share several subreddits with the anti-police state left. I am frequently disappointed in them when situations like this come up. Enter Alan Reese. He's accused of having conversations of a sexual nature and or soliciting pretty pictures from a 14-year-old. Oh heavens. Anti-cop subreddits like r/badcopnodonut are on his ass no different than if he killed the girl. I mean, it's not like I'm surprised. This is the modern West. I've gathered the prevailing wisdom here is that sex is worse than death. Alan here looks like the little piggy that he is. I'm sure he wouldn't think twice before shooting any man who looks at him funny. I'm similarly sure that this is just about the least harmful thing he's ever done as a cop. Since I get bannings and warnings on Reddit all the time, I figured I'd say the least debatable thing I could in opposition while not breaking any of their rules and still being a good little cuck. So I only said, liking a 14-year-old does not equal pedophilia. Boy, did that trigger the fuck out of these chimps. I haven't kept track, but I'm sure this is among my most disliked comments in the 8-year history of my profile. What did the haters say? Well, obviously nothing new. There was one person who seemed to think that those who would insist on the term hebephilia are a meme. There was one raging feminist who actually challenged the truth value of my statement, as she's claiming a quarter of females at that age aren't pubescent yet. One guy thought I was farming downvotes on purpose. Yada yada yada, same shit. Imagine. People go through their whole lives without questioning things like this. The hate is normal, so why should they question their bigotry? I envy them. The small world in which they live must be cozy. Other people hate what you hate, they validate you, no one asks questions. You all get wet when a man is confined to a cage for the rest of his life. And the best part, you still get to call yourself lefties. Just wow. I kid you not, in these same subreddits, people agree with me on prison abolition. They will tell me explicitly that they don't believe in any form of punishment for the sake of punishment. They'll be the ones telling me hospitals only, treatment only. Then bam! It's fuck all consistency or humanity when a nonviolent, victimless sex crime is concerned. From Jesus to chimpanzee in 60 seconds. What the fuck? It's all unsustainable eventually. The next decade or two are going to be interesting. If we finally get prison reform, then we'll have no choice but to extend our humanity to sex offenders. Let's brace ourselves now for the bullshit that's going to come our way in the 30s. We'll hear a lot of people who think it's wrong but reformable. Then people will say it's wrong but not criminal. Then eventually, that love is love, that they're not hurting each other, and the registry was always fascist. Bitch, that's not what you said in 2020. You know what else is fun to imagine? Having a consistent and non-judgmental worldview. I do find it comforting. I can say things like, non-violence should never be met with violence, and I can mean it. I can maintain my objectivity even discussing sexuality. It's a fucking superpower. It's lonely sometimes, but how cool is it to have a fucking superpower? Anyway, fuck you phony lefties. I'd rather jump naked into a pile of bullet ants than defend a cop again. Good night.